Things aren't going too well. How's it going, everyone? My name is Colin Winters. I'm the host of Panthers Place, and today we're going to be going over the danger that the Carolina Panthers are in. And now this danger isn't going to be the same danger that we're going to be talking about like you see on Twitter where it says, Bryce Young is a bust. We should have taken CJ Stroud. Oh my god, Anthony, he's just done so much better. I just know. In fact, the first thing we're doing today is going over why Bryce Young isn't the fucking problem. So when it comes to Bryce Young, the breakdown so far over the first 2 weeks of the season is that he makes rookie mistakes. Sometimes he overthrows his guy, sometimes the ball is a little bit behind his guy. And yes, that is an issue that needs to be rectified, but he'll be able to rectify it if his awareness is as good as it's been advertised. So you can't really be too worried there, because the main issue is that his wide receivers give him no separation to make the good throws that we've been able to see him make. Quite literally, Bryce Young is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL according to stats when his receivers are open, but guess what? His receivers are never open. Literally, right here, I'm going to put up a chart that shows this fucking measurement. He has no help. And while our offensive line can be shit wreckers when it comes to run blocking, the pass protection is still pretty spotty. When the tackles aren't, absolutely caving in, then they let up pressure through the middle. If they don't pick up a blitz, Bryce Young's absolutely fucked because there's no wide receivers that are open to make a safe throw to. There's not even checkdowns are open half the time. So we have the fact that he's making rookie mistakes, which is to be expected of a rookie, no wide receiver separation, and spotty pass protection, and now he's having to deal with an ankle injury, and ankle injuries are only concerning because they can be nagging for a while, so hopefully it's just a very minor ankle injury and that he's able to get through it, rehab it just a little bit, get, good care for it, make sure any sort of inflammation goes down. But they're just annoying because ankle injuries are really persistent because of the fact that you have to use your fucking feet. There's some people on the internet saying that this is just for his psyche, like they're pretending he has an injury and just so they can sit him out for a week because he's having, mental issues, losing 2 games in a row, playing poorly. But I don't know, for some reason I feel like that's a pretty big stretch, and even if that is the case, fuck. But I feel like it is a stretch and people are like, oh, I didn't see any injury when he, was the final play that he made. And I was like, okay, sure. But then again, ankle injuries can flame up after a play ends, so you never really know. And the really relaxed tone that they had with it anyway makes it seem like that it could really just be like just a little bit of inflammation that's, that they're being careful with because he's, the fucking leader of the offense, so of course you don't want to rush him into anything. But otherwise, that's all I have to say about Bryce Young. He's playing fine, making rookie mistakes, he has no wide receiver help, pass protection spotty, and he may be a little bit, injured. Oh well. Now we got to go to my first little topic that I want to talk about that I actually think we may be in real danger for, and that is Frank Reich himself. Now, I do not want to sound disrespectful to Frank Reich. I think he's a very good coach when he's scheming correctly, and I think that is the biggest thing. Currently, the play calling that we have from Frank Reich is extremely vanilla. It's run, pass, pass, run, maybe run again, or pass, run or pass. All of our plays are extremely predictable from wherever the down and distance is. We run on first down. All right, if it's 5 yards or shorter, maybe we would try to run again, and then we pass on third down. We run, no gain, try short pass, try pass again. There's no guesswork for the defense because of the fact that everything we do is so choreographed. So far, it looks like Frank Reich has no scheme for Bryce Young in mind. It feels like he's still scheming for the old, aging white quarterbacks that he had beforehand. He's not letting Bryce Young really stretch his wings, so to speak. There's nothing that he's allowed to do that really goes into the very specific skill set that Bryce Young has. He can make plenty of throws. He can run really well, and yet we're not seeing any plays that take advantage of these skills. He also seems to have no schemes for the wide receivers that he has on the roster. He's still playing as if we have the super physical, super, go up and just take it Michael Pittman and, the exceedingly speedy, slot guys, but we just don't have that. Our slot guy is an old white guy, and our super speedy wide receiver can't get separation. And I say that, and I don't mean any disrespect again, because those wide receivers are still pretty good if they had a scheme that would allow them to get open with their skills. So we have a lack of scheme for the players that we have on our roster, and then we have a little bit of a concerning point that when Thomas Brown was calling plays in the preseason, the offense looked great. It looked different. It felt like it was actually made for the players we have on our roster. But when Frank Reich was posed the question by a reporter that if he would consider giving up play calling to Thomas Brown after the struggles we've had on offense, he seemed almost offended at that idea. Even though that so far with the sample size that we have, the play calling from Thomas Brown, our offensive coordinator, is better than his, he seemed adamant not to give that up. The next danger point I have is our defense. Our defense is only a danger point because we've lost our defensive captain. We've lost our leader, and Shaq Thompson. Hopefully he recovers well. He has a fractured fibula that he recently had surgery to fix. So hopefully that recovery goes speedy and is very comfortable for him. All the best to him. Hope he has a nice, season just to relax, be with his family, stuff like that. You did your best, played hard when you're on the field. Injuries happen. But with that, you have the fact that we have no, centralized captain from there. Brian Burns has become a leader, but he has contract issues right now. And even though he is being an absolute professional and not letting them distract him, and he's still playing football for us without an extension, you have to wonder that knowing that he may have to go in the offseason if the Panthers are stupid and don't pay him the money he's owed, maybe that is in the minds of his teammates, and that could affect the leadership even though he's doing everything right. And you also have to worry about the fact that even he was limping off the field last game, and if he's dealing with a nagging leg injury, that could be detrimental to our pass rush. Even if Brian Burns isn't going in and sacking the quarterback himself, he's always taking up their premium pass blocker to make sure that doesn't happen, which frees up the rest of our guys to get home. Remember, they can do a lot more on the field that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. But if he's injured, that's going to be an issue, and if we lose him for even a game, we're really set up in a bad area. Not to mention that our secondary is already pretty thin because we lost J.C. Horn for at least a few more weeks, and probably more if his injury doesn't heal quick enough. That means we're stuck with Troy Hill and Dante Jackson and C.J. Henderson. Fuck. Dante Jackson, he can play good ball. There's just times where he really does let up a lot of big yardage plays. Otherwise, I still think he's pretty good, so he's not an issue there. Troy Hill, he has a mean streak as a cornerback, so he's pretty all right. And C.J. Henderson, he's just always making pass interference calls and lets up that one big play that really changes the tide of the game. I still hope he has a good season with the opportunity he has, though, because I never wish the downfall of any of our players because I'm not an asshole. But yes, otherwise defense has been the absolute bright spot on the Panthers team so far, so my only worry about them is injury because, of course, they're going to be getting tired if the offense can continue to not be on the field, and that's why usually in the fourth quarter, that's when they finally break and give up a few points because that's at the point of no return. They can't do much more. They're tired. And now one of my biggest danger points is the rest of the NFC South is 2-0, and we are 0-2 against division rivals. So not only are we the worst in NFC South because we literally haven't won a game, the two games we've lost are to two of our division rivals, which means it is going to be even harder to win the division, which, if I'm going to be honest, we should start getting ready to throw that idea out of our head and just want to improve. And this comes with the NFC South not really being that good of a division. I bet whoever wins our division is just going to get blown the fuck out in the playoffs because none of us are exactly that good. There are going to be a lot of frauds coming out of this division who are going to do nothing if they make it to the playoffs. And now, real quick, I want to go over what some idiots on the internet have been saying about the fact that Cam Newton did more with less, and ignoring the fact that Cam Newton and Bryce Young are so absolutely different when it comes to play styles and era of playing that it is a absolutely stupid idea to compare them at all in the first place. Let's go into what Cam Newton had his rookie year, which was Steve Smith, DeAngelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, Greg Olsen, and Jordan Cross on his side. And then Bryce Young has Adam Thielen and DJ Chark as their wide receiver 1-esque types, Jonathan Mingo as their rookie wide receiver that's supposed to be pretty good, and as the running backs has Miles Sanders, who seems to be struggling when he's not running behind the best offensive line in the NFL, and then Chuba Hubbard, who is a good, weird kind of like 2-3 back, not really a solid 2 or just a terrible 3. He's definitely not a 1, but he's there. And then a O-line that is just busted up with injury. So no, Cam didn't do more with less. He did more because he had more. And it's just stupid to compare the two because Cam Newton is 6'5" in the 200-pound range, and then Bryce Young is 5'10", soaking wet 200 pounds. Their play styles are so absolutely fucking bustedly different that there is no reason to be comparing the two. We're going just comparing because, you know, Cam was our franchise quarterback. Guess what? We have a different type of quarterback now to be our franchise guy. You can't compare one dude with such a different play style to this dude just because we picked him first overall. It has just been so utterly frustrating to hear so many people giving up on Bryce Young already and comparing him to a man that he is not. Bryce Young is his own quarterback with his own set of skills. Stop comparing him to Cam Newton. And I guess if I wanted to add another danger point, it would be the fan base. Because currently we are in a new era of Panthers football. And we are more divided than when even Matt Rule was in the middle of his sucking barrage. We as a fan base are not doing our job to support our players. We are always so quick to call for the head of even one player after he makes one mistake at a game. We are so quick to call our rookies a bust because they aren't putting up record numbers in their first 2 fucking starts. And yes, other fan bases do this, but I've seen just so much worse attitude when it comes out of our fan base for no other reason than we think we're entitled to change now because we've waited so long. And I understand, we've been waiting since 2018 to see some real winning. But guess what? With a new regime and this many new coaches and a new franchise quarterback, your patience clock has to be reset. And I'm not talking about some 7-year JC plan. I'm just talking about now, with the start that we've had this season, you need to be supporting our players, supporting our rookies, being happy to see them on the field, and just want to see steady improvement. And that's all I want for the rest of this season. I want to see steady improvement, steady gelling with the offensive line, offensive play calling. I want to see the defense come together even more. I want to see Bryce Young develop well. But if you cannot just wait this year now with the start that we've had and still support our guys, then maybe you shouldn't be watching football because you're way too emotional for this shit. We have a new quarterback who needs us to support him. We need to be able to stand behind Bryce Young and let him develop well, and then push our administrative staff to actually help him develop. And that is the biggest issues we have. We need to make sure that we get on the ass of our coaches and actually make sure they develop him correctly. We need to stop calling for the heads of every player that makes one bad play a game. And we need to stop being stuck in the past and comparing players to other players who they are not. But that's all I have for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And also, #pay Brian Burns.